bienvenue. Hello, welcome to my Genous Hour TED Talk. My name is Hannah Kirby, and I'm a fifth year concurrent education student at Brock University. So today I'm going to be talking about Genous Hour and what it is and what I'm going to be doing for my Genous Hour project. So just to give you background information, Genous Hour is a passion-based learning that was adapted from the company Google that allotted 20% of their employees' time to work on things that they were passionate about. By setting aside this time, simply doing it for 1 hour can foster an environment that promotes creativity, exploration, research, and so much more. By transitioning this to the classroom, by implementing Genous Hour, gives students the opportunity to choose something that they want to learn. Students tend to enjoy when they have a sense of control of their own learning. This strategy emphasizes the importance of incorporating the students' own interests that bring meaning to their learning, that gives them a sense of ownership to the curriculum. This project creates openness to students' learning rather than limiting their minds, creativity, and freedom. This approach gives the students freedom of choice of what they want to learn about for that time period. And when students are given the freedom to research about their interests and topics, this motivates them to want to write something that they are passionate about that allows them to explore their topic even more. So for the perspective of a student, I think Genous Hour is a great concept to implement in the classroom to provide the opportunity for students to choose what they are passionate about, or rather than having someone select always what they need to be focusing on for their topics or project. So when I found out as a student candidate in my tech class, we had to select our own Genous Hour topic. And for the longest time, I was very stumped. I didn't know what I wanted to focus on, what I wanted to learn more about, if there was a question that I wanted answered. I had no clue. But then I started to think about it. I was thinking about a problem that I wanted to improve. And that problem was I wanted to improve my French. So just to give you a timeline of where and how my passion for French developed, it started in grade 4 with the implementation of core French as a subject. So when this happened, I developed the love for the language of learning and speaking French. In this time period, it was a critical moment in my education as it initiated a spark for my passion for French. After elementary school, taking French from grade 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8, I continued to take it on in high school. So in grade 9, I met my French teacher, Mrs. Vanderdusen, and just right from the start, I developed a instant connection with her. As she took the time, she was one of those teachers that took the time to establish a trusting and caring relationship with each one of her students by creating a positive and supportive environment. For me, I was lucky enough, I was able to have her as a teacher from grade 9 all the way up to grade 12. And I just love seeing her passion for French, and that influenced my passion for French as she made it exciting for all of her students. From a very young age, I've been surrounded by children as my mom runs her own daycare business. And just from observing my mom and her natural teaching abilities, I was fascinated on how she influenced young minds and prepared them for elementary school. So within this environment, the daily interactions with children influenced my passion for wanting to become a teacher. But to further extend that, from being influenced by my French teacher, Mrs. Vanderdusen, that extended more than just wanting to be a teacher, I wanted to be a French teacher. Influenced my decision of wanting to become an elementary French school teacher. So I applied to become a teacher, but then to have my teachable as French. So I transitioned from high school to Brock University, and from the start, I was thrown into a French immersion classroom, but I'm not French immersion. I was only core French. Any other choice, as I did take French from elementary to high school, and because of that, I had to be put in the French immersion classroom. And being put into that class was a totally different experience. My French teacher, he does not speak any English, he only speaks French, and that was very difficult for me to communicate as I never really had the practice. I was more in high school and elementary, it was more focusing on developing the vocabulary and more about the grammar aspect, but not really communicating. That's where I struggled with, was listening and communicating. Thrown into that was very difficult, and I struggled. And that year really discouraged me because I always loved French and I did very well in French. It was very hard to have to give up on that, as that was always been my passion and dream of becoming a French teacher. So I was very discouraged. In that moment, I didn't know what I wanted to do. I knew I still wanted to be a teacher, but just not being a French teacher was really upsetting for me. But thankfully, I went to my academic advisor, and she informed me after you graduate, you can do additional qualification in French. So when I heard this news, that gave me hope. So I thought, okay, I'm going to take a pause on French now, but I'm going to return to it later. So the problem is, since I stopped taking French in first year of university, I haven't done it since. So I've gone 4 years without practicing French, and because of that, that's really hindered my recollection of the language. By not continuing practicing the language, I have lost and not retained a lot of the vocabulary. So I thought, when introduced to the Genous Hour topic, I thought this was the perfect opportunity to relearn the language and practice in order to help prepare myself for taking the additional qualification for French. So by doing this, hopefully I will be able to pass the course and to be able to become a French teacher. For week 1 of my Genous Hour, I spent 5 minutes a day working on various lessons using the application Duolingo. So Duolingo is a language learning education app that provides free lessons in a game-like manner. So as progressing through certain lessons, I would practice word recognition, translating English to French and French to English with vocabulary, sentences, and practicing speaking French and pronouncing the words. So I covered lessons on greetings, basic vocabulary, people, and travel. So this was good practice as it helped refresh my memory on certain words that I've forgotten about. So I readjusted my proposal. So I changed for week 1. I decided that I would spend 5 minutes a day using Duolingo, and only once during the week spend 20 minutes learning as many gestures as I could. I thought this was a lot better because doing every day was way too much for me, as I had a lot of other obligations for my other courses. So by doing this, it allowed me just to take a short period of time by still doing 5 minutes a day using Duolingo, but then just doing the gestures once a week just to kind of be in the moment and to learn the vocabulary. For week 2, I decided that I would just focus on learning as many gestures in a 30-minute time period. But one problem was finding the resources and technology that had the accurate gestures that accompanied the French vocabulary. As in grade 4 in elementary school, I remember we used to watch AMI Learning with the one lady who would always do gestures and stuff, and we would repeat what she was saying and repeat the gestures. But this was very difficult for me. I was spending a lot of time just looking for the gestures rather than just learning the gestures. So thankfully for YouTube, I was able to find some of the older videos of the AMI learning and some other people just demonstrating gestures. So I was able to watch and repeat what they were doing and take the time to learn what gesture accompanied with the designated French vocabulary. For week 3, I thought I would take it one step further and learn a few French songs along with their gestures. I learned the song Alouette, that translates to lark, and the song Tête, Épaules, Genoux et Pieds, which translates to head, shoulders, knees, and toes. By learning these French songs is a great opportunity to focus on vocabulary, grammar, listening skills, speaking skills, and pronunciation. Studies demonstrate by studying another language through music helps boost memory to remember the vocabulary. Music can be used as a mnemonic device that is a teaching technique to help with retention of information. I thought this was a useful technique to help me to practice my French by singing the songs and practicing pronunciation. This approach helped me to retain the information in a fun and engaging way rather than merely repeating each word. As a mnemonic device, the songs were fun and catchy that motivated me to want to learn. For week 4 and the last week, I decided that I would learn a children's story. So, when learning a new language, reading is one of the best ways to improve your speaking and understanding of the language. By reading this story, I selected a read aloud animated video, Un éléphant dans la ville, by Armi Garg. Listening is a vital skill when learning a new language, such as French. By listening, I was able to pick up on pronunciation, how to verbally say the word, how to express it, and how to associate what the meaning is in English. After listening, I did a voiceover of me reading the story by practicing all of these skills that I learned. The more times that I practiced, I was able to improve my pronunciation and proficiency skills by reading with more of a flow rather than just stopping and starting each word. After watching and listening to my TED Talk, I hope this inspires you to implement this into your own classroom, even for your students, but then also for yourself. Just take the time for you to forget about the other stuff and focus on something that you're passionate about. Thanks for watching. Au revoir.